Yeah, we're starting.
We're gonna open the meeting at 7. Oh, 7:09. David Tinio.
Mike Commander, Peter ConCom, Emilio Perez.
Emily Petro.
Hello, everybody. 5 Morrison Drive, did they come?
No, they're continued. And then just a quick question on 5 Morrison though. What was the result of the planning board meeting? Are you on the planning board?
I am. And the last planning board meeting, I was doing it virtual and I couldn't hear very well, but I know that Jeff Walsh had issues that he was trying to resolve with them. So it was continued.
Okay.
So there's nothing's improved yet.
Okay. All right.
As you know how that goes.
Yes.
So that's probably why.
Okay.
All right, so no, we're not gonna do anything with that. Muddy Brook Estates,
Also continued.
that's continued.
Yes, I got revised plans from Mr. Robert Coxon yesterday, no, a couple days ago,
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So we're here tonight.
Are you waiting for the vernal pool, from Goddard?
He's gonna go out, he's gonna get out there this week. So
Okay.
Well-
And you think you were able to shift the detention kind of along?
I can show you if you want, but.
Well,
we
you can't really do it.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I mean, you gotta go to planning board again anyway. Jeff Walsh has
I did
it.
send it to Jeff, I sent it to located to Jeff, in a new stormwater calcs to Jeff, so.
Okay, and I did talk to Jeff about Jeff Walsh, and he is the town's planning board engineer.
Okay.
And I told him to please look at that whole thing, you know, with the stormwater calcs. I mean, that's kind of there to protect the wetlands.
Tim,
He said, look more of it from a ConCom standpoint.
Right. I think there's, double audio, but anyway, as for the vernal pool, I mean, amended bylaws can be confusing, but we exert jurisdiction over isolated wetlands and vernal pool habitat. So it doesn't matter if it's a vernal pool or not, we still don't allow alteration unless there's some sort of evidence as to why it can be altered.
You're not in a vernal pool.
So I know, I'm not distributing you guys later well.
You're just barely in the buffer, right?
Well, now that there's a
Well,
whole
let's see.
revised design that you guys.
All right, we'll deal with it.
And we'll deal with it.
Okay.
Oh, is it scheduled for tonight?
It was, but we just got the revised plans a couple days ago.
But now is the time of year to see if it's a vernal pool.
Right.
If it's a vernal pool, then it's just.
He has gone going out there to
Right.
determine that.
Not for today, he's gonna be out there probably tomorrow.
So, I mean, it is on the agenda, but, I mean,
It was continued.
you continued it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I didn't, sorry.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, we'll do that. All right, 45, 49, we know that's continued.
Yeah, it's continued.
So they got a DEP number. 9 Ashton's Drive.
Nine Drive is a new RDA. The gentleman is not here to represent himself, although I think I can do a fairly good job of representing him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one tree in the buffer, right? I mean, even that, they didn't even need to.
Well, technically, according to the Wetlands Protection Act, we need a public hearing, so we're here.
Wow.
Sorry.
I thought you could cut trees in the wetland, you just couldn't stump.
No, you can't.
Or you can cut
Unless
a
it's
frozen year. If you have a cutting plan,
Yes, exactly.
maybe if it's frozen, right?
We have an active.
In the buffer zone?
In the wetland, you can.
In the wetland,
And once you're out, you can't go.
Yeah, right. Okay,
So, yeah.
and so,
I'm trying to share my screen. So here it is. There's really not much to see. It's like 2 to 3 caliper. And there was another tree, but from my field observation, it was significantly outside of the the wetland or the buffer.
So where's the wetland in this picture? Where's the
It's
buffer?
kind of-
Behind you or?
Also, the buffers extends outwards, so the wetland area is like back here. So it's probably about like 30-ish
Okay,
feet.
it's not a very big tree.
No, it's like,
He wants to take that tree down?
yeah,
What was his reasoning for that?
Cut it with
It's-
a handsaw.
Safety.
safety, yeah, it is leaning. So if I'm standing on,
His lawn.
exactly, and right beside me, so if I'm standing to the left is the house, so it's kind of like arching
Leaning.
over, yeah.
All right,
I don't see a problem, I'd take it right down.
Yeah.
It looks like it's like that one.
Well, yes, it is, but,
No, I think we can waive the notice of intent.
yeah, he does need a notice of intent, I'm just kidding. No, but, the tree people actually reach out to these folks and ask them to get permission from conservation.
right, yeah.
We don't have admin approval in the works yet. I mean, it's in the works, but it's not, finalized. So
Yeah.
once that's,
Well, it's good they're doing that because they've not been cut.
Well, they get in trouble, they get in hot water, they go in there with a crane or something, next thing you know, they're bringing everybody, I mean, and something like that, I mean, if we agreed, if she went out there and saw that,
right,
and she could just do a negative impact without having to come in front of the board, I would think that that would be something that
I
would
think so.
save a lot of, especially if, say we got heavy winds and this guy, the tree falls on his house, but we waited a week for the meeting and, well,
So if we need to adopt a regulation, or not a regulation.
it's more of a policy. So I have, I've been trying to develop one that's similar to other townships. And I haven't finalized it yet. I just.
it's something, when you're ready, we'll vote on it.
Yeah,
So
very,
make that, quick, and that way there you can just make the decision.
Yep.
I mean, if it was 20 trees,
right.
It's a different story, yeah?
yeah, but I mean, something like that, I think that,
Admin approval,
But,
yes.
Again, there is a caveat in our bylaws that says the Mendon Conservation Commission by majority vote may waive strict compliance to the requirements of this bylaw or rules and or regulations promulgated hereunder where such action is allowed by federal, state, and local statute. It is in a public interest and is not inconsistent with the purpose and intent of the bylaw.
Well,
I
that,
think that's in the pump.
well, that is
Safety.
for the bylaw, but we don't have the authority to
can't
waive
waive
sections of the state regulation. So any vegetation or alteration, cutting of any vegetation within the buffer zone, regardless of how minor it is. That's,
So we would like to believe that we could do a determination of negative impact.
Right.
If they do certain things. That didn't require public advertising, that didn't require notice
a
of intent.
request for determination of applicability always requires a public hearing.
Now, that could be, but he shouldn't have to request a termination of applicability. He knows it's in the buffer. He's just
It's the
proposing.
tree company that requested it.
so,
That's good to have you.
What I'm saying is, something like this, we have before,
many times.
use our best judgment in the interest of safety and public interest, and said, okay, cut that tree down, just be careful in there. Don't go in there with
Do not stump,
right, and don't go in there with a bulldozer to drag the log out. I mean, we don't, I've been on this board for over 30 years, and we try not to punish the homeowner.
I mean, we're not punishing the
I'm
homeowner.
not saying
delay,
It's a
delay.
policy
I'm not saying we
in
are,
place
but I'm saying,
to
as
make
the
these-
Conservation Commission members, we should have the authority to waive certain things. And that, to me, falls right under it, so.
Right, she's bringing up the issue, as long as it's not against state and federal. And so that's, and that's
that's a different situation. You know, and like I said, we can get this resolved where we can have a meeting, I mean, where we can vote on something when she gets the document ready, we'll vote on it so that she can go out and say, she's willing to go out and do these field inspections. Okay, yeah, that tree can come down. Take care of it. Call the guys coming tomorrow, have a good day. You know, does he have to wait until the next meeting in 3 weeks? If we just had a meeting the day before, it turns into a situation.
No, because the longer it's delayed, the more,
I really feel bad for all the guys had.
right,
I mean, my aunt had a tree fall on her house. She lives in Millville. She was displaced for a year. I'm very open
Right.
and understanding of people who want to remove hazard trees. But we don't have policy in place that allows us to do that, so that's why I'm trying to write it.
So you just have to draft this up and we'll get it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we can go to the next one here, I guess, right? So we got 7 Old Taft Ave, notice of intent for DEP.
Okay. So, 7 Old Taft Ave is not right here, because, running on Taft Ave and Old Taft Ave. But the house was originally, the original house, it's located here. The proposal is to raise this old house and construct a new house, the same footprint, with the same footprint, not encroaching any farther on the sideline, setback and anything. And they're gonna build, and this is the buffer zone right here. And the bank goes pond. And proposing road emails, road on the other side of the road. We'll back that. The garage is not in the buffer zone. Pretty well it is. Minimal grading is, taking on an old house and putting up a new.
And the septic system, they don't have to, it's already been done?
It's gonna be a think tank.
And where is that gonna be, or is it, it's a new structure, right?
I'm just saying this is doing, tight tanks in the front of it's the front of the house.
It's an existing tight tank.
No.
No,
It's not always us.
Yeah.
So there's a new,
Right here.
oh, that's right here.
Right here in the front.
Okay.
are you putting in a new foundation, or are you gonna build on the existing?
I think, I'm not sure, I think it's gonna be a new foundation.
My only concern is where you put the dirt when you're working on it. So it's such a tight lot.
Right.
And it's-
Where are you
The
stating?
dirt's gonna go up on the high side.
Okay.
There's no room to put anything in the back of those.
Well, I think you can be stopped out of the time.
There's no trees there?
No,
or-
it's all safe. So fence is gonna go on, there's a drive, the old Taft Avenue between the lake and the house.
Yeah, I understand, and that makes sense to put it there because
Both
you
sides,
need
yes.
access to the road. If something got away from you, it's gonna get onto that road and then go sideways as well. So I don't know if you have something on hand, either hay bales or.
We're gonna put hay bales across the driveway when they're not working there, but there's gonna be silt sock on the house side, and there's gonna be silt sock on the lake side of the road. Is there a plan in here? No?
Would be, yeah.
Sit on top. Because arguably, you're not, you need access to Old Taft Ave, but you could put up protection on this side of Old Taft Ave.
Both sides. We're gonna go up both
And
sides.
leave a place to come in and out.
Everything's gonna be, we're gonna be unloading and doing all the work from Taft Ave, because the lot goes from one end to the other. So you're gonna enter, everything's already been, done to get the well truck in, it's out of a buffer zone. Everything's gonna be done from the backside. You can't get down the bottom there, or even load the truck when you're raising the house.
So I don't know, because it's maybe like do like 80% of the road on one side, leave access, and then have as you have it here, at the end. But I don't know, this is gonna take a couple months, right? Hopefully.
Well, once the house is raised, because it's just the deck is like on the road. Once everything's raised, we'll be able to clean it up and organize it.
Well, that's, fair enough, you can't really put in the erosion control if you're gonna be wiping everything out, but.
Well, we're not gonna
You
do
could
it.
put that stuff on the left-hand side, right? Because you're not gonna be doing anything on the other side of old path down.
No, right, that's what.
So put that up and then do
Right.
your raising and then try to put another line.
Once we get it organized,
Get
yep.
it organized.
I mean, there's really nothing there where the foundation's gonna go. It's pavement, and then it's a wall of, you know, if you drove by, you would get a better picture of it. But the high side on Taft Ave side, it's probably 8 to 10 feet higher. There's a wall of dirt, you know, of ledge right there.
And so parking is gonna be in the garage, right in front of the garage? Can you get a place
yeah,
in front of the garage there?
They're proposing, they gotta go to ZBA for this, but there is a driveway coming in off of Old Taft Ave on the side of the
Yeah.
house.
I see that.
Yeah, and then they're gonna have it so you can access from Taft Ave if ZBA approves it. You can come in that way. But the trees are all cut up on the high side out of the buffer zone. Everything's cleaned up there.
If you can provide that extra line of protection of erosion control, yes. Before you get going, or after you've controlled the site.
And then I have everything there, I'm just waiting to do it, so I have all the silt stock on site. I'm just waiting to do it once it's raised.
Do you have any issues?
No,
We need
I
this
think
picture.
you've made a good point there.
Does the public have any questions about this particular?
Carol Carnavale, 66 Uxbridge Road. I walked this route around the lake for 30-something years. I know the house and the area. I'm just wondering, are you still going to keep the driveway from Old Taft? Or is there just going to be a new driveway down from Taft Ave to the house?
They're gonna keep the old driveway on Taft Ave, Old Taft. They're gonna access, they will probably do their major, you know, the everyday driving will probably go to the garage and then walk down to the house. But there will be places to park there on that.
So access from both roads
Yes.
to the house?
Yes.
That's all one lot?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, they have somehow,
The others have all been split, huh?
Because the other ones are back to back.
so frontage on one side and
Yeah.
frontage on the other.
That's where all the trees came down.
Yes, yeah.
So with the addition of the further erosion protection, I'll make a motion to approve the application. Old Taft Ave.
That's presented.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
aye.
I will abstain.
Well, then we need Mr. Tim here.
Mr. King.
Tim, I.
Unanimous.
Uh, 85 Millville Street, open space encroachment.
And do you want to come up here? Because you probably know more history than me.
Yeah. Hi, 85 Millville is surrounded by Meadowbrook uplands, and there's like, kind of
So they have a volleyball court, stuff, and then, they take it down there?
I don't think it's up now, but, there's a little strip of land that connects to the open space, and their lawn approaches on the open space, and you sent a letter in 2020 asking them not to mow on it and to move the volleyball net, and so, I'd like you to write notify, because they continue to mow.
But they moved bottom. They continue to go.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying now, since it's winter time, volleyball, that's probably,
That's it. And over.
yeah, but, it was up last year, I think.
And is it clear where the bounds are? So it's not as if they.
We had Sunday, and they actually, I think, removed some of the markers, so. But Patrice knows where the marker, where it is.
Any pictures available?
We had pictures.
Yeah.
I think there was pictures
Yeah, I-
before,
I
but
think-
then, so they're not listening, basically.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. I mean, they just have to stop mowing at a certain area. You know,
Like how many feet are they mowing into the land? Like 10 feet, 20
something
feet,
like that, yeah. I think it's
10 by 10 area?
something like maybe 10 by 20, like more
Really?
than that. I don't know, maybe bigger, I don't really know. But it's the one access from Mill Road that the town has, and it's not that wide, the access we have, and so we just wanted to stay on their property, that's all.
So this is strike two coming to us now. What happens if we write another letter and it goes away for a year?
I said at some point, it could happen at strike one, is that you go with a stake and you pound the stake where you think that, or we
Well, it
think the
was.
property
It
is,
was.
and every
It was.
15 feet.
Yeah.
And then if they
We
move that,
clarified this.
then you,
They did.
then it's more than mowing, it's like, no, you're trespassing when you move the stake. The stake is ugly, I'm sorry, we can put up a fence, or we can plant something, but this is our land, this is your land, you're not supposed to do this without our permission. And it's as if we were a neighbor, we wouldn't mow your neighbors.
We put stakes in, like, not on their lawn, but on, like, by the
Sure,
road,
that's-
where the shrubs were, you know, just to show them where it was to stop, but,
And
The trespassing thing, I don't know. We bought it as open space, meaning open space.
Right, they can go on, they just can't
The
go.
public can go on.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to say,
But the public can't go on and move stakes that we put and throw them down because they don't
They
like
also
it.
feel-
And the public can't come and clear the trail because they think that they need that clear without our permission.
So, question, does open space fall under our enforcement clause?
you manage it.
Yeah,
The
we're the-
Conservation Commission manages the open
Say so.
space.
So I think if we write another letter and this continues, I think we go to section A of our enforcement clause. I think that's the next step.
but is that used as an
Fine.
access point into the open space?
No.
Well,
Not too much, but it could in future, and we're trying to keep people just to stay, you know, on their property and have the boundaries of the open space be clear.
First of all, if they want to be the steward of that said open space, and if it's part of the approved plan that be mowed, knock themselves out. And we would love them to mow that. If it's, well, but the hope is, or the process is, that it could be. If the committee agrees that the management plan,
Well, it's just
Well,
extending.
should we write a letter to the selectmen and ask them to have, the police department patrol it once in a while?
No, I think that.
Or maybe
You laugh,
that's the.
Right.
They keep pulling the.
Got a lawnmower 10 feet on.
Yeah.
maybe a reasonable request would be to issue another letter and offer them to come
to the
and have a
meeting.
conversation with us and say, all right, what's your piece? What's your status? Why is it
Yeah,
continuing to move? We can offer it clear.
I'd like to see some updated photos.
Yeah, I can get some, Patrice, I think, has some,
Yeah, sure.
and we could, but.
Especially, right now would be a good time to see, right?
Yeah.
And then.
Let's see what happens in July when we have a party on July 4th,
Well,
play volleyball.
to get an idea of what happens there. Why are they mowing it? Is
Well,
Play
is it coming
volleyball.
up with poison ivy?
Well, right.
I
Well,
think,
I don't like to
Let's take some pictures now,
yeah,
and some pictures after 3 months worth of growth, or 2 months worth of growth. Everything's gonna turn green here in 2 months. And let's see what it is, maybe it's a legitimate.
Do we want to wait months or can we write this letter again and request a conversation?
Send a letter, get the ball rolling, right?
All
right.
there's not, I mean, part of the thing on the open space properties is like, you know, these properties are old, people don't know where their boundaries are, and so in this case, their lawn is in the open space, and.
Well, in this
you know,
case, they fully are aware of where the boundary is and they
Right.
just don't.
Yeah, they
Right,
just,
they're
just,
pretty much ignoring it, and so I just would like, you know, the land use committee and the volunteer land stewards would like them to stop mowing it. And,
who's the land steward?
Patrice Murphy, and I think she's the only one,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, my suggestion is, another letter saying we've received a second complaint.
The Mendon Conservation Commission cordially requests your appearance the next.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that would be good,
And
just
in the
to,
meantime, can you go out and take some pictures of the present
Please RSVP.
situation?
Perform attire
So
only.
that we can see an updated photo of what's going
Yeah,
on.
see, but I'm sure Patrice has.
I understand we're the Conservation Commission and we're supposed to protect wetlands and animals and whatnot, but we also have a duty to the citizens of this town to help them through and understand.
Right,
Not
that's
just,
why we're inviting
not
you for a
just be a
conversation.
Gestapo going, you can't do that, you can't do this. We have to work with you.
Why not both?
Nobody's,
right?
Yes.
nobody's
You
saying
get
that
more-
we have to do that.
You get more flies with sugar than you do.
Right, that's why we're,
And
Right.
trust me, I agree with you. A nice letter.
and if they continue, then
Well,
Yeah.
then we might want
No.
to select and say.
I am completely against
Control.
fining people. I think fines are ridiculous. A conversation to educate people on what they should be doing. A lot of these people are ignorant. In this case, I don't think they are. But fines get nowhere. They'll end up getting appealed. They don't pay them. It's not a valuable way to enforce anything.
so what options do we have that are
They're,
valid and valuable?
Let's just see if we can get him in here, that's all.
well, I think the first step.
And then
It's
it's
not
not that volleyball, but that they should write a letter asking for permission to set up a seasonal volleyball on that open space of the plan, and then we could have a public discussion, and if it's in the public interest,
I would say that that's not in the public interest, because we're really trying to define the properties of open space, because it's not happening just
well,
here.
it's supposed to be multi-use, so is it open space, is that prime habitat, or is it a place
It's
for?
not helpful for, it's not helpful
Yeah, you
for the
got-
general public, it's helpful for them.
Well, maybe that's negotiation, want to put up volleyball, anyone can come use it in the back of your.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's complicated.
It's all theoretical.
Can we make a copy here?
But I don't know.
Get it done, so these guys.
And so it's like,
You
we're.
want one of these before?
I mean, they can go on it, they can go on it, they're welcome to, it's open space for them to enjoy, it's just that, you know, it's a line, that's all.
There's nothing on it, take only picture.
Well, there's one more.
Okay.
The plantings for Pond Street, and I've included a copy of the estimates in the violations and enforcement section of our finders.
I can explain it a little bit too.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and?
So the first estimate they gave us was $50,000. And I said, there's no way that they're gonna get in. So I asked them to redo it. And he's not doing the whole area. This isn't planting the whole area. It's planting just this strip that is dug out.
Which is the slope, so it would be maybe 30 feet
Uh,
from the top of the slope to the bottom of the slope.
I didn't
How much
really
measure,
measure
right?
it. I don't know.
And
It's like-
maybe by 100 feet.
Something like that, yeah, it's, yeah. And so this, if it's gonna be irrigated, then we would have to ask the neighbors if we could use their, water, and obviously, if they want to, they can, and if they don't, they won't, but, when you plant things, you do want to keep it irrigated.
So everything correct. So, and this is the crew.
Our position is that this area here was not vegetated prior to this development. It was an open field. It was an overgrown pasture. So what plantings are we trying to recover?
Native grasses.
Native grasses is one thing, yes, but native grasses is hay. I mean, this was a hay field.
It's not hay, it's like little stems, that's what most of the plantings are, they're plugs.
And, And the habitat area, habitat management area is a minor, there's only a small portion of this area that was disturbed, the purple area. So like a third of it was
What,
the habitat area.
except for it's all dug up now and there's nothing on it, it's just soil on the hill, and so this is to just fill that.
Right, but, it should be more of a natural, situation. I mean, we were willing to see this area here, that was disturbed with grass, because it's good house. You can't have anything that's gonna grow tall, because this, you have to maintain this 10-foot strip around the detention basin for access and maintenance.
Yeah, this is just the grasses, that native grasses, and then native strawberry plants. It's
To
very
me,
basic.
it sounds like it, very expensive. It seems to me that you shouldn't have to improve the stock when you disturb it, to what degree? And that planting what is there would be ideal. I doubt if you could get commercially seed what is there. So wouldn't want to see rye there, or wouldn't want to see anything that wasn't native. So I'm just like,
I mean, the worst part,
and I don't want to see irrigation. I would want to see a fancier thing that's going to survive and doesn't need to be maintained.
that
Maybe
was,
go for the upper grade, put your money into the mulch or something, or depth of soil.
well, I think you need to find trees that can be, that don't need a lot of attention.
Well, planting plant, and so in order just grasses,
But I
you
mean-
get grasses, plugs of different
Spend
things.
$15,000 on trees and then have them all, and half of them die, I mean, it just doesn't.
Well, trees are.
It doesn't seem like, I mean, let's put something that's gonna just either spray it and let it grow wild, or put a few
Were
trees
there
up
trees
there.
there before?
No.
No,
No.
Why, we're gonna put trees
You know,
there
the
now?
problem is now we go put trees there, then we gotta go mow it in 5 years, and then they're complaining because it's 3-inch trees.
We're talking about trees.
Yeah,
We're talking about
this is
native
just, it's
species.
just a native grass that, and
All right, native grass,
Maintain that
once,
slope.
I saw a lot of
You
stuff
want
on
to
it.
get native grass, you leave it alone, and it'll grow.
Right, yeah, true. But I mean, if you wanted to stabilize it,
Nature's gonna come back on its own.
Right, but the neighbor who bought the house, now that there had been this thing that's been taken down, they got this rickety fence, they don't want to see dirt, they want to, so there's been a negotiation and.
but it's the town's land, it's not their land.
Well, let's know that, well, it's right at the boundary.
There's a split rail fence up there now, right?
Should be on the town land, that's right.
So it's town land. If we wanna let it grow 6 feet high, we grow 6, because we're not gonna mow it, nobody's gonna mow it. We're not even allowed on the neighbors are not even allowed on their mow. So, is it gonna be in the same predicament as the other guys? They can't even kick a ball down there, they're gonna get in trouble.
like you can fall down there.
Well, I mean, I don't know, you can play volleyball, you can play soccer, which can you, there's a determine, which one can you play?
You play it, you just can't mow the field. Especially not after May 15th.
Yeah.
It's just,
No, I mean,
That's
Well,
So I'm not looking for a real fancy landscaping plan, but I did want to see something, as opposed to just spreading rye, and a variety of things is always good than just one thing. So,
So they were willing to, don't get me wrong, I'm not sticking up for anybody here, but they were willing to give $5,000 towards a planting plan. I think for $5,000, you can buy a lot of stuff, no?
someone's got to put it in though, you do have to.
Right. Well, I mean, you can spray a lot of it for the grass, but, I mean, it's, what did you say, it's a 20 or 30 by 100-foot swath? Is that even legit?
yeah, I think so by the time, because it was
Well, some of that grass is already grown. Some of the grass in the slope is already grown, because what he did was he pulled down he took the wall off, he took some of the sod and just pulled it down.
Okay.
It's just not native grasses, so we're just trying to keep it in the rest of the property.
And this is public property.
Yes.
And it's open to the public.
correct the
And
movement.
is there a way in there?
The detention basin.
Walking through here, yes, that's public access, that.
Over here.
Yeah, the big detention basin, they at the end.
Or you could park it in the cul-de-sac and walk down.
So we're gonna get.
Between the houses, yes. That's a drainage easement, so I think you could walk over the
It's
drainage.
an easement, it's an access to drain.
So there must be a opening in the split rail fence there also?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
I feel sorry for this guy, because this wall was 6, I haven't looked at the other side, but it's not in the buffer. But he had to take down the wall and.
everybody happy over there?
Well, I don't
And
know.
simply, I was out there and took some pictures the last time, and I talked to one of the neighbors, he's fine.
I mean, it doesn't look bad now.
They've been pretty good about it.
without the wall there. I mean, I think it looks a little better sloped.
It looks nice.
You know, that fence is nice. I guess you guys.
I mean, the problem is that like, if you're gonna put seed in, you gotta find the native seed, which I don't know if you can. Usually they put plugs in and you'd have to water it. And you have to have somebody do it, you know what I mean? And so that's why this quote, and this is a very, very scaled down quote. Like I said, the original quote was $50,000.
I see that quote.
Excuse me, this is a public property, right? Do you have another, picture of what you're talking about? I'd like to see
Take
it.
this one, David.
Well, this is this is like before the development, so it's not a big
Yeah, that's before.
situation.
I mean, clover is something that's been depleted in town, which is very easily grown with benefit.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
Area.
great in lawns and things like that, but we're trying to keep it, it's not native, and so we're trying
Yeah,
to keep it.
it's native and, we have a bee pollination problem and all that, it's, it helps.
Who's gonna take care of it?
3,800 square feet of sprinklers, they're gonna attach it to the snow power down there, and you can't ask somebody.
Who's gonna maintain that?
Yeah, that's all right.
It would be on a timer, you know.
Yeah,
like-
what happens when it breaks? Nobody's gonna fix it.
Who's gonna go up there, lead the lines in November, before November 1st? And who's gonna charge the lines again, and then walk them all, make sure there's no leaks?
I think you get.
I agree, I think it's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know if you guys, what you think, but this is.
But
a little
again-
overboard.
The developer wanted to do this project, and he agreed to do that, so we could do that, so it is what it is.
Mr. Pox, or Mr.
Go ahead, Bob.
Up Street, 50 Milford Street. Wouldn't that fall in the park since it's town-owned land? Wouldn't the
No,
Parks
it's
Department be
open space.
responsible
Just
for that?
open, no, conservation is responsible for it, it's open space.
Each parcel kind of has different designation. This was open space from a conservation subdivision, so those tend to fall to us, especially because this is the habitat for the endangered. So you're saying there's an offer on the table of $5,000
$1,000
to the town to let them.
Whoever, however they want in that area, in the York Street.
I mean, if you take off the sprinkler system and everything, it probably wouldn't be that far off.
Well, it's $6,500 for installation.
Yeah. Oh,
No, there's $6,000 of plants and then $6,500 planted. It's
Right.
$13,000 just to plant the plugs.
That's what I mean, so I mean, I think we're getting a little over the top here. I mean, if that was something that would be, they removed something in this situation, like this stuff, they removed it, now we have to replace it, but they removed grass from an old cow farm, a hayfield, and now we're gonna put irrigation systems in with timers and 3,800 square feet of sprinkler systems.
With no plan and no revenue source to maintain it.
Most expensive place in the area.
I don't agree with it.
I don't know.
Like I said, there's only the minority of it is in the habitat management area. So you could concentrate in that area and leave the rest of, up by the area that's directly adjacent to the detention pond, between the detention pond and the road. Just let that grow the way it's gonna grow. And then concentrate on the area that's in the habitat area.
That's the only area that we're looking at, is just where it's the dirt, right there, that big strip of,
Where the wall had been.
Yeah, with the wall.
Another
You have the
question.
picture that I brought in last time?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
This is.
is there room on that edge?
Well, yes.
Would it make sense to maybe have somebody go in the field and take the cuttings and put it on that banking so it will reseed itself?
But it all costs money to do this stuff, and we
That
mowed
would
it.
be under $5,000.
I mean, I think they need to plant some stuff. There's some things that probably need to be planted out there, maybe plant a few feet. But the problem that we have here, there is not any money in the budget to maintain this stuff. You know what I mean? There was $5,000 put into, or $7,000, I forget the exact number, that was put into, to cut manage the habitat area where the turtles were every 5 years if needed.
Yeah.
I mean, we went in there and we got a local guy to do it this past year, and then there was complaints that it wasn't done right. I mean, so.
So it depends all the money. So going forward, we have two options.
Because money's gone.
Is to accept the 5,000 and agree that we'll take care of it, or say, no, we don't want to do it, but you got to do it, and according to some plan, and if it's not this over
I say-
design, I'm comfortable that we could get a scout, or we could get a landscape, if we have time to do, and I don't know if we have time, or erosion's gonna go in, or you get something covering road.
They have seed in it, so, I mean, something's gonna grow right now.
So if we spent this time and then get it in next spring, you wouldn't have to water it, if it could be done this time of year next year. And
See what it looked, I mean,
get some low growth perennial fancier stuff.
Why wouldn't you do it this spring though, instead of,
Because I don't,
if they'll write a check, you know what I'm saying? I mean, why wait till next spring, that's all I'm asking.
because I guess I could volunteer to do it, but I've had, in my next couple of weeks are busy and, it should be done before Memorial.
Well, I think that
Not gonna
maybe-
water it. If you got the neighbors to
Why does
agree,
Peter have to do it?
well,
Peter doesn't have to.
somebody,
No,
well,
I
who's
think-
gonna organize it and.
so listen, I say, you know what? If you have, you went out and organized this, you got $3,000 to spend on this, and or whatever the number is. You got labor, and you got the cost of the place. Whack it up somehow with $5,000.
That works for me, it's just who's gonna do the work, who's.
Well, I'm sure that there was somebody that was gonna do this work.
Right, you could pay, I mean. pay
Yeah,
somebody to-
there's a lot of profit in that.
I like these numbers.
There's another
Excuse
question.
me, is this the piece of land where the developer went over?
Yeah,
Okay, so, I mean, why isn't he responsible
well, that's
to?
what we're.
That's what
Yes,
he's
that's
doing.
his money.
He does
He
do
tore
it.
down the wall that he put in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's all
And then he
fixed.
would have just graded it out, and we're saying that,
I mean,
there was
you
supposed to be
know,
a fence there originally.
he should be held responsible for, you know,
Putting it back the way it was.
The way
That's
it
what, yeah, right.
I mean, he's proposing a development in town now, and there's a track record here
Yeah.
that I'm seeing, he's not very, responsible for his actions. So that's why I'm here tonight, one of the reasons is to what's going on with Moneybrook Estates.
It's been continued.
You know, I did something else too, but
Well, it's not,
he
as
should
easy-
be responsible.
it's not as easy as the way it was, because he changed it new. So he created it new, that we had asked, the state wanted a split rail fence. We thought we should do better with a stone wall. He agreed to a stone wall. He built the stone wall in the wrong place. So what do we replace it with? We replace it with a split rail fence on the right place, but having taken out the wall, we've got to do something with the exposed soil, because the wall held up the slope. So now we've got to design this small slope. Who's going to design it? Yeah, could have had a landscape architect. I don't know.
And what do you have to say?
Well, I was just gonna say, if you get the $5,000, let me see what we can do with $5,000, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm
Because
I would
I'd rather,
We could do that.
I'd rather like kind of try to put native seeds in there. and
You can pick
possibly-
whatever you want to put there, something that's gonna, maybe that's gonna live without being irrigated, because you can't really ask a neighbor, hey, can we hook in the irrigation system?
Right, unless
You
it's
can
a
ask them
record,
to
it might
take,
be
we use your
interested in it.
water for the first year.
Or I mean, they might want to anyway, that it,
just.
just because it's near them, but, so,
All
now
right,
let me see, I
is
mean,
there,
we're
is there,
looking for
is there maybe, does anybody else have any questions about this? All right, is there anybody?
So I guess I'll make a motion to accept the $5,000 in lieu of, the complete
Planting plan?
landscaping of the fence, split rail fence.
And then you go back to either Western Nurseries or somebody, maybe, you might be able to get a landscaper to, to get some, tell him what you want for plants, maybe he can go buy them a little cheaper than going here.
I
It's just not a
think we should
slow
put this
breathing
vote on hold until we get the facts,
Okay,
right? You're gonna go,
You wanna
I'm
try to
not
go?
approving that.
No, do you wanna, you wanna
See
go
what-
try to put
what
some
the
numbers,
next-
get another quote with a $5,000 budget?
Well, I would say, why don't you vote the $5,000
My motion
because
is to take
it has to be
$5,000.
done before May 15th.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
Let's have a plan on how to do it before we take it, 'cause we might find out that, you know what, $5,000 isn't enough.
She's willing to take this, she's willing to sell it for $5,000 because she needs, it's a timing thing. She wants to get it done. Get it done, even if the farmer's willing to give the $5,000, and we need to get a certificate of compliance from this commission, so he can get his road accepted. So, I mean, to drag it on anymore is,
No, I don't want to drag it on either, but again,
All right, why don't we do this
This is
contingent,
ridiculous.
they can take the vote contingent to see in the quote with a $5,000 budget. That sound,
I'll accept that.
so does that mean that I would have to come back?
well, you just can get it to Emily, and, you know, she can email it to us, and we can probably, we already voted on it. Right?
Just because, actually, you're supposed to do it before April 15th, but National Heritage said, you know, since we can do it before May 15th.
All right.
But that's pretty tight, so that's why it'd be better if we voted it.
You guys.
20 now.
Okay.
I would like to see it happen, so.
Did you make the motion?
I made the original motion, if you want to add on that contingency, it works for me.
You make the motion. Somebody's got a second it, and we'll vote on it.
I'll make the motion that we accept the $5,000 contingent upon an approved quote from.
From whoever's landscape.
Landscape quote.
And Emily can approve it, or can Emily approve it and then?
Or I'll circulate it again.
Yes, circulate it, and we'll all just get back to her. and let her-
Okay.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I have one more thing.
Opposed?
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
now, who's the check that we have to?
What's Tim got to say?
Tom Mendon.
Hey, Tim, you on there?
Yeah, because Tim has to vote, but I'm,
Yes, I'm sorry. I was muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, did you hear the vote?
yeah.
Motion?
Yep. I, Tim. Sorry, I couldn't get the volume on.
All right, thank you.
Also, for 7 Old Path, we can't close that. We don't have a DEP file number, so we can close it when we get a file number, by the way.
And has a question still on, or?
Yeah, just that, the open space signs are in the open space, so can you move the open space signs so they're like on the fence, which is the
Yeah,
border?
he told me.
Okay. All right,
All right. Good?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good. Thank you.
I'll take it.
And maybe you can find somebody who can, maybe
Yeah.
a little different numbers. That's it. Anything else, Emily?
No.
But we have an interested member of the audience, who you wanted to talk about other things as well?
Just looking for, I have a request for determination. David Stewart, 6 Cemetery Street. I want to build a garage on my property.
It's not how it works.
Excuse me?
It's not how, you can't just come to a meeting, you have to file the paperwork. it has
There's
to be
paper.
reviewed.
Sometimes I file papers and they don't seem to get where they go. So there's paper. I'm looking to build a garage on my property. And, you come and look at it, come and look.
So, do you think you're doing any work within 100 feet of a wetland?
Let's put it this way, when I built the house, I had to file for an note. So, it's really questionable if I'm within 100 feet.
You have a copy of the original plan, the Board of Health plot plan that came with your house?
Yeah, I can bring it in.
Because that would usually, to take a Xerox of that and then sketch as to where you're proposing it, then you can say, but, yeah. Other than that, I guess we gotta go out and look, and then we'd have to ask you, have you staked it out, or
Yeah. Stake out. Yes.
garage corner?
Come and look at it, sure.
House is here, the road is over here.
So it's on the left side of the driveway, closest to number 4 Cemetery Street.
Before you get to your house, where you were cutting the wood there, kind of?
Oh, so I was cutting the wood. Yeah, so that's on the other side of my driveway. So this is, almost 200 feet from me.
Okay.
As far as left to right on Cemetery Street.
The thing is, we do have to formally do an RD, it has to fill out the paperwork, that's not our paperwork. You're gonna have
That's what she gave me.
to, who gave you
Who
that?
gave you that?
Gail.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh, But yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays, she's in the office. If you stop and see her, she'll give you all the paperwork that you gotta fill out for it. And then she can go down and take a look. Some of us, one of us can go down and take a look if you wanna go.
Is it too much to ask to get the paperwork to them right now?
We print that out.
No, I don't have connection in this. It's not.
All right, so I'll comment. Emily,
It is,
and you have the paperwork that I need.
yes,
So we're filling out a formal request for determination.
yes.
Okay.
But it sounds like, if you wanted to get going on it, and I don't know, time is usually of the essence, right? That if you file that paperwork at our next meeting, we could have said, if you do this work with a silt fence here maybe, or I don't know.
That's what an RDA is. Why couldn't he file the paperwork with me and I process all of it? That's my role, as
I'm
an
just,
agent.
okay, so can you do that before next week, or if he gets something to you?
Yes,
in
there's plenty of time between now where I could post the public hearing. I mean, there's
Did you
procedural
get
outlines that we.
she's there? Did you get the hours that she's there?
No.
She's
I
there.
work actually, I'm the conservation agent in Uxbridge, so I'm available anytime. Anytime I'm in the area, so.
Okay, I made a call in the middle of last week and I didn't get through to anyone, so I decided to come.
Well, I can give you my cell phone number and we can connect that way.
That'd be great. You have a card or something?
I actually don't because I'm too new.
You got money in the budget so she can get some cards printed?
Right? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, could that be emailed to Mr. Stewart?
She'll take care of it with her.
Probably could.
All of these forms are available on.
Oh, they're on the website, yes, they're on the town website.
Like I said, that was down to building department on the shelf and
Yeah, sometimes they steer in the wrong direction. I mean, it's fine, but
Yeah, the forms in this.
all right, thank you. I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone has a question, Mr. Chairman?
Captain Alexander, 14 Long Street. I thought there was going to be a 106.
yeah, it is, but they still haven't gotten there. I see it's on here, 106 Millville.
An emergency order.
Yes.
No, it's not an emergency order, it's an
Enforcement order, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was told when I called the office this morning that
the town clerk would not know, it's an enforcement order.
Basically the same thing, it's an enforcement order, I mean, it's just not it's because there's something wrong there.
okay. I just have one other question. Is there a DPA file number for this issue?
I wouldn't be able to speak to that unless you guys know if there was a formal enforcement order.
Well, that's a good question, because then a sign should go up, right? But I don't know.
There is no sign.
Well, I don't think it's under a file number like DEP.
Okay, because I may have misunderstood Carl in a previous meeting that the DEP was involved.
DEP is involved, but I'm not sure that they are aware of a violation, but I don't know if there's a formal enforcement order having been issued.
Who issued this? Or was there a cease and desist order?
Yes, it was October 12th
I
of,
think that was the Board of Health, right?
no, No, it was conservation.
Oh, right, we did that, yes. But the Board of Health also, because of the
Yes, that was
animals and
previous to
everything,
that.
that was
Yes.
previous to that. Yeah, so I mean, everything, there is to be no construction being done there until they come in with a plan. He was here, were you here at the last meeting? Okay, his lawyer was here.
So was he advised that he has to put in a notice of intent?
Yeah, he has to come up with a structural plan and all that
But
stuff.
he's
Yes.
got to file for a notice of intent.
But his whole thing was, oh, we can't find anybody.
Right.
Right. Then Damon suggested that he hydro seed or something, and I haven't heard
Just
anything about
stabilize.
that.
He hasn't hydro seeded, as I understand it. He has taken 4 bags of grass seed and sprinkled it over.
Maybe it's worth I don't know, maybe I reach out to Ernie again.
Yeah,
I don't know how
maybe.
productive that is.
And I
Right,
understand that,
exactly.
unless I misunderstood him, Mr. Narrow's lawyer said that the cliff was, I call it cliff,
Yes.
stable. It's not stable.
Not something.
It's continuing to.
Yes, yeah, no, there's nothing good going on right there.
Yeah.
I think send his, I suggest we send his lawyer a letter saying,
I'll get on the phone with him.
yeah, or whatever, but if you put it on paper, then we have a hard copy of the notification, because if this winds up going to court,
Yeah.
we're gonna need it. Say, we sent this letter, we sent this letter.
I think, well, we'll give him 30 days, he's gotta get something going on here, or do we wanna give him, I mean,
I think it's been a year in the
I
making.
don't know.
It's
These people,
unreal.
I feel bad, because,
Take a look at it.
Well, the suggestion was hydro seed, and I don't know if it was a suggestion.
well, there's something to do
Because
now.
grass seed is not the same thing as
No.
something with a emulsifier and gives it a chance to grow on its own.
So, do we agree that it's affected a wetland, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's got to file.
Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, no, definitely, he's definitely in the buffer zone there.
So I would send a letter, call him, but send a letter, in writing, call him and say, we're gonna send a letter telling you that you.
Well, I don't know if we
be
should
filed.
issue an enforcement order, because at this point, it's ridiculous. The excuse that he hasn't been able to find anybody, it's been a year. You haven't been able to find an engineer
Maybe
with
this.
a year's timeline?
I mean, I think that, we gotta do something here to get into,
I think we start getting stuff on paper, because I can foresee this going into a court.
Are we talking regular mail or certified?
Certified.
It's registered, so that, again.
and then he has to get a notice, he doesn't need an engineer to do a notice of intent.
No,
But you do need engineered site plan.
Correct.
right.
But I mean, you can get the ball going, an engineered site plan, I think
Exactly.
I think the structural engineer, I mean, there's enough engineers out there that he can, maybe it might not be the best one, but he can get somebody.
A good start would be to get a notice of intent.
Right.
The other concern you had raised, I'm not sure if I can speak to this, but hydro seeding or grass seed has fertilizer in it, and that's going to also go into the wetlands.
Well, I mean, if we did get some grass growing there temporarily, I think that would at least stop the,
Would help mitigate the light silt from rolling on.
it would slow the water down. And,
Is the ultimate goal to have it removed?
Yeah.
well, something, it'd either build a wall, but I mean, it's, in my world, I would love to see it removed. Yeah, I mean, we really can't, I don't know that we can.
With a pipe that's,
Well, you know what, maybe the DEP does have to get involved and give them the. So
Well, I could
they
reach
give
out
up.
to our circuit writer and see what.
Yeah.
I
You
don't,
think
this is
about that?
beyond.
Yeah.
Why don't we go down that road and see what she has to say? Is that Judy? Judy?
CC, DEP.
Right, but send a letter to his attorney telling him what our intentions are because of the no-show and what is appearing to be a flagrant disregard of the Wetlands Protection Act. And that we're gonna contact the DEP. And then nobody can go into the courtroom and say, well, they didn't give us a chance. Of course we gave you a chance, look at this letter.
They got chances upon chances.
Well, they have. It's like, it's been a year. It's insane.
You know, and I really feel that there's a whole little cruise, nobody's doing much but just dragging their feet,
Of course,
you know, I mean,
it's gonna be an expensive thing.
that was a beautiful, beautiful place over
Yeah.
there.
It's gonna be an expensive thing to fix, and I can foresee it, again, being dragged all the way into a courthouse. So if we don't have all our ducks in a row we sent him a letter on this date, we recorded a phone call on this date. He was here on this date, we gotta put together a case. Why do you think he has a lawyer for, and he's not coming?
We don't.
Why can't we close that hearing contingent to the DEP file?
No, we can,
Oh, yeah.
but we
No,
have
we're
to just have to
directing
be
the-
formally closed.
Plus the.
We don't have to wait till the next meeting, when the file of the DEP number comes.
If it comes, I
Yeah.
mean, they've been acting like.
Molasses.
wow, Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, I'm sorry.
So, the lawyer, on this 106 issue, they're appealing at the ZBA?
No,
So-
no, the neighbors are appealing at
The
the
decision.
ZBA. Yes, the decision that the building inspector made.
Got it, right.
What was that?
I'm not sure what the contents pertain to.
Are
Are we done?
Anything else?
Anybody? Yeah.
Go ahead.
We thought there was gonna be, the 45-49 Uxbridge Road
Who you addressed?
issue.
Yeah, we addressed that earlier, it was continued because they don't have a DEP file number. So there's no additional information until they have the number, then, because we can't vote on it.
And the number comes from,
Yeah, the DEP.
Okay, so, yeah, we didn't know that.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, we talked, that's what we said, when I passed over it, and I said that, so, I'm sorry. I
Okay.
thought you were here for tap tap.
No, can I just ask a question
Sure.
about this? Was a site inspection done on this?
Yes,
Yeah, I went
Tuesday?
on Tuesday to meet with all of those folks.
All of what folks?
John.
Menard,
John
Goddard,
and Goddard.
and some other person from Goddard's company, and then another median guy on Tuesday. We walked the site, and it's a really large area of disturbance, so I asked John to identify what areas are actually being disturbed in a square foot figure. Because they're asking for a lot. I mean, they're asking for a wetland crossing. I mean, they're removing a huge chunk of tree. I just wanted more information, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the site there. The site's already altered that they want to connect, but they have to do blasting. I mean, it's a big undertaking, and he was, itching to get it passed, and I just kind of wanted to see more information, but I don't get the vote, so.
Was Carl there?
Carl was not, nobody could attend.
Oh, I thought he was going, okay. Well, that's gonna be that'll probably come up at the next meeting,
Okay.
if they have a DEP
Is
file.
it possible for you committee members to do a site inspection? Because I think it's very important that you guys actually see what they're asking there.
Yeah, DEP's been on there, she was there, I mean, everybody was supposed to, but a lot of us have to work during the day, so we didn't get to go. But we'll get out there and take a peek at it.
It's.
I've walked the site, and I also agree that it's,
Challenging.
well, worse than challenging, I'm not saying purpose. And then when I'm saying, okay, an existing complex of 3 buildings down below and 1 above, okay, you're cleaning up a ugly site. But then to expand
Right,
by building a very large parking lot
yeah.
in the zone that is not commercial. I can see the existing building was there, it's a non-conforming use. Does that give you a right to build the parking in residential zone?
That's what, that's residential? Is it what,
I
200
think the
feet back?
residential only goes 200 feet back.
200 feet back. is
And
commercial,
at the meeting that I brought up, yes, what's his name? Bob Hawks, or no, Johnson, with a straight face. Yes, it's an existing use. He saw it as an existing use. I see it as an expansion of an existing non-conforming use. And then he's building a haul road so that he doesn't have to bring the rock out front ways. So he's constructing this road, which would be a second egress to this large commercial area, which I don't see, he's improving the access. He's taken out the old access, which was ugly between the buildings, moving it down the street 100 feet, so it's improved access, nice and wide. Then, well, he's putting in a crossing after he gets into the parking lot for this access road, for the haul road, to move the rock that he blasted in, to put in the drainage underneath the parking lot.
He's not even confident he can
Yes.
use
That's
that
right there.
property back up there. He's going to
I mean,
disturb a
yeah.
wetland for the possibility of maybe using the property
Right.
back there, which is my concern. Like I can understand trying to work with us if it was, he's definitely gonna use that property, but he's
Right.
basically told us, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to use it, but I'm still gonna make.
But it
Yeah.
is his land, and
Yeah, but
if he,
the property that he might use is a giant wetland complex. So from my eyes, I don't even see a real use that he could do anything back there. It's a swamp back there. So,
Well, that was an intermittent stream that he was planning.
no, so
Well,
he
that's the
has,
history. The stream that came down, the one building, it went right behind the building that got built probably in the 50s. In the 60s, they built a building over the stream.
So I'm not talking.
And then in the
about that
90s,
that goes up.
There might have been a clog in that pipe.
to go to the back property.
yeah,
So he had improved it by diverting the stream, not asking for any permission, diverting the stream. He got caught, so then he had to recreate it. And now he's wanting to recreate it by scooping it around this big parking lot.
I don't
So this
like that
stream has
we're
been-
disturbing is intermittent when we're changing the permeability of the site to begin with, and we have had a hard time keeping the water from taking everything
Right.
off that hill to begin with. So I'm kind of concerned that if we start playing with things up there and pave a greater section, that we might wind up right back in the same boat of everything's gonna wind up off the hill again.
All right, well, unfortunately, this is not something that we're just chatting about it, I know, but we probably shouldn't go into any deeper conversation with it until we are having a public hearing. It's opened back up, and I would probably watch the agenda for the next meeting
Which is when?
it'll be
is
the 28th of
20.
April.
28th of April. I
Okay,
mean, I'm not sure if he's not gonna, doesn't have a DEP number for then,
right.
he probably won't.
From the notice of intent, you get the DEP number, right?
Right, yeah.
State, they issue a
Yeah.
file number.
Yeah.
letter.
And they shouldn't make comments themselves.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, the
usually-
DEP will probably send her, their feelings of this whole property and what's going on
Do
there.
they automatically issue a number, or do they actually
The number
examine the site?
indicates the minimum required submission. So it means they have all the materials, but it doesn't mean that it's approved or anything like that.
Do they have a right of approval or disapproval of the project?
It starts at
No,
us.
they leave it to our hands normally. So they would only get involved in reviewing it if it
Was appealed.
This one, they were involved from the beginning because it kind of grew.
There was an
But I'm not
enforcement.
sure that they don't necessarily review, they might, but they do necessarily have to give a number. So,
But they'll send back a number and they'll probably have comments on it that, it could be comments that we just talked about briefly. It could be something,
The information that they supplied us, they also supplied the state. The state overlooks it, and if they have the opportunity at that point to make suggestions or comments or ask questions, but they direct those to us to say, we recommend that habitat study be done, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, if he gives me area calculations that surpass the threshold for a habitat study, I'll advise that one be done. Because it's 5,000 square feet or greater. And the total disturbance that he's proposing is 72,000 square feet, which is like an
Yeah.
acre and a half.
It's almost 2 acres, yeah.
We followed this through planning board and, we feel like we're getting steamrolled. We live right across the street and it's just, it's nuts.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can understand the frustration
Yeah.
that you're going through.
Just doing the best we can to police it and,
But also, again, as I say, our job is to be fair and equitable to everybody.
But if you find this is a
General
big,
public.
if you find it's a big risk and you're not comfortable with it, then
it can't be a personal risk. It has to be something that's legit.
Yes.
I mean, because they can go to DEP and say,
Yeah.
I mean, flood control,
Right.
stormwater prevention, pollution prevention, I mean, these are all interests that are identified in the act.
for a
That
parking
for
lot,
public.
But if they come up with,
Yeah,
for a parking lot.
For a parking lot.
but if they come up with legitimate safeguards,
Standard best management practices.
then we're pressed to say no. You know what I mean?
Well, you can always appeal our decision to DEP.
and you know what the other thing is, like, so that, how the access to those buildings right now goes up that hill?
Yeah.
That is it could be called a safety hazard, in the winter, sliding down the hill. I mean, it's just a bad, so that's one of the reasons why they're saying, when planning board, that's what they were saying. The access over here, we're gonna block that off, there's not gonna be any more access there on the corner, whatever, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things they're throwing out there, but we'll see how it goes at the next meeting, when they're here, and please make sure, watch it so you can be here.
Yeah. we definitely will. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we encourage the public to attend
Please.
and again, ask questions and participate. Again, our job is to protect the wetland, but our job is also to help educate and guide the public.
Appreciate that.
And we'll do the best we can to, for everybody,
Does the amount of ledge being removed, does that come into the decision at all?
I mean, it
Just,
comes into the area of disturbance.
Yeah.
That I think we should consider.
yeah.
The amount of trees, hundreds of trees would be lost.
I'm right there.
Destroyed.
I agree.
Right next to the lake.
I agree.
What wildlife habitat,
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
all right.
All right, well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you for attending. Bob, you got anything?
No, I'm good.
Just tonight?
Well, sir,
In terms of,
I'm doing my civic duty and learn the best I can. That's management practice.
Thank you.
You weren't able to print that out?
Let me try.
what?
We have a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
All our administrative stuff to take, what about that thing on the back page?
Oh, that was a draft letter for 85 Millville Street that we sent many years ago.
No, the extension.
The volleyball.
No, the extension.
Yeah, I thought you guys, did we brush over that, the
We're
extension?
talking
No,
about,
we voted on it for 2 years.
2-year extension.
yeah.
Yeah, you were in conversation. I made the motion and.
Yeah, so, is something you want me to sign that? I think that's just, we don't think we all have to sign that, do we?
Extension, not normal.
No, I think it's just a one.
I don't know.
No, I had to
Emily
sign,
will tell us if we have.
What do we
I
sign?
yeah, you have to sign it.
All of us or just one?
No, everybody.
Extension permit, so we got 4 signatures here.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine.
we did sign it.
Yeah, we did,
Oh, okay.
but I haven't been able to get yours.
We just got one more, she can print it. No, but they don't have to chase everybody down and sign it, so we'll have to.
So Emily, what are you gonna do to get, access, like the forms, when I said, can we get the forms to them, and you said you don't have access?
I just have never printed to this room before, so I don't know what printer it is. I don't.
Oh, let
know
me see if I can get a name off of it.
Hey, congratulations in Uxbridge, you're the
Thank you, full time.
full-time,
Yeah,
wow.
full time benefits.
So that means you're working time and a half now? I mean, yeah, 60 hours.
So it's
We're only giving you 10 hours, right?
3051 would be the number to task alpha. 3051 CI.
Okay.
When did that become official?
About a month ago now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's where we want to be. What else?
Yeah, miss you. This one?
Oh, so Uxbridge is stealing all
Well,
that.
yeah.
That was 6551, right?
You guys looking for anybody to be on the board?
Maybe.
305051.
Oh, 3051?
Do you have one before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 20 years of experience.
Yeah, that's bad experience.
No, there's no such thing as bad. I've learned a lot in those 20
Right, you
years.
did, right? But sometimes it was the hard way, right?
Every time was the hard way.
So
That's the best way to learn.
there's a motion to adjourn, but nobody's seconding.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.